wonderful it is to be here. I'd like to say that, but I'm not really sure I am that pleased to be here. Anyway, I better start. I took my family down the beach one day, and unfortunately there was a big white pointer shark floating in the water near us. So to scare it away, I threw a stick in. Pity the family dog followed it in. Once upon a time, there was an old man, a very grumpy and demanding old man who didn't have any teeth. And he forced his family to grind up all his food in an industrial strength vitamiser so he could suck it in through the straw. Can you imagine? A meat and 3 veggies all churned up into mush. Yuck. Anyway, it all went very well until they got to the sardines, and they didn't quite mush up very much. So the poor old bastard, he sat there and he sucked until eventually the let go came up the straw so fast it blew his brains out. Anyway, his family got the house and the car and the money and lived happily ever after. Now, speaking of being old, I'm not really that old, but these days, I just recently had a birthday, and you don't get many birthday cards anymore because many of my contemporaries have passed away, and the young people don't send cards like they used to. But the cards I do get have all a similar theme. It was you helped build the pyramids, or you wrote the Magna Carta, or you surreptitiously impregnated Mary. But anyway, I'm still old enough to know how to handwrite a letter, put a stamp on it, and post it. So when the Chinese let off one of those bombs in the atmosphere that kill all the electrics, all the electronics, everything, so there's no electrics, there's no cars, there's no internet, no social media, I'll still be able to write a letter, send it round to my lady friend, make an arrangement for a time and a place, ride around there on my Melbourne Star bike, and we can have a wonderful evening of endless sex. And my name is Geoff. No. I say that because in the English-speaking world, there's only one problem. It's either a G or a J. But when you go to America, it's a different story. They don't know, and they're confused. They go, Geoff or Geoff or something. Anyway, it's very confusing. Now, I was over there in the USA, and I was trying to sell them some Australian wool. So the sales manager there sort of said to me, he couldn't pronounce the name, and he said, it's very confusing. And I said, well, it's not as bad as you guys when you've got your uneducated hillbilly with a hyphenated surnames and middle names, and they don't know either. And he said, well, that's a shame, because please meet Mr. Bubba Billy Bob III, Junior. Hang on a sec. Right. About 50 years ago, actually in Bell's Hotel, just around the corner here, I had an arrangement to meet my fiancée and her father for the very first time. And 7 o'clock sharp, so I had to be on time, didn't I? So anyway, it was a pity that he cut me off outside the street and I called him a stupid, silly old bastard 5 minutes before I got here. My fiancée and I actually entered a jitterbug competition. Now, for those that don't know, a jitterbug is one of those very high energy dance routines that they did in the 1940s to swing music, where they throw the girl between the legs and over her shoulders and spin around, and there's a lot of twirling with short skirts on and a lot of exposure of knickers, etc. Anyway, it was a pity my fiancée forgot hers. We were disqualified by the female judge, and we got 100 extra points by the male judge. I like my life. I've got a beautiful and sexy wife. I've got children are doing very well in their jobs. They've got families. It's wonderful. And my house should be in the cover of a Vogue magazine. However, I'm allergic to water. So unless I had my half a bottle of scotch every 4 hours, I would be dehydrated and probably realise that all of this was just a figment of my imagination. Now, as I look around this room, what's so funny about that? As I look around this room, I realise that the only bloke in this room that doesn't have a bald head, a moustache, or a beard, or a tattoo, or a foreskin, is my son Paul. He's an alumni of this school. He's done very well for himself. But I know he hasn't got a foreskin. It cost him $9.50 in 1975 to get it off. That was my doctor. Chop it off. Anyway, the advantage was that I got a spare fan belt for my XA Falcon. No, hang on, that was his brother. But as a macabre memento, I kept it in a jar on the mantelpiece. Anyway, unfortunately, I knocked it off and it broke the glass on the hearth. And the glass shattered everywhere and a little bit of foreskin went scooting across the floor. And this mouse came out and grabbed the foreskin. And then the cat came out and grabbed the mouse. And then the dog came out and grabbed the cat. Now, that was before I took him down the beach. So then I tried to pick up the dog. And the dog, with the cat in its mouth, with a mouse in its mouth, with a foreskin in its mouth, the dog struggled. And I fell over and onto the coffee table and hurt the crown jewels. And Paul was sitting in the corner laughing and yelled out, "Karma, Daddy, karma!" So thanks very much for your time. I've been Geoff.